We're in a series talking about today, not for sale. Today, I want to talk to you about on this Palm Sunday, the church is not for sale. And so what does that mean? What does it look like when we say the church? Okay, I want to make something very clear up front. When we talk about the church, we are not talking about the building. We are not talking about the chairs. We're not talking about the equipment. We're not talking about the lobby. We're not talking about the offices. We're not talking about the staff. Please hear me. We're talking about the church. There is a difference, and I need you to know this, okay? We can sell this building because it's just a building. But listen, the church is the people. The church is formed when we are gathered together. This is the church. The very first time that the word church even occurs in the entire New Testament is in the book of Matthew. It's important you know that because Jesus uses the word church first before anyone else does. That word is not recorded for us in Mark, Luke, or John. And then when you get to Acts, it's repeated over and over again all the way until the last chapter of the book of Revelation. When the church is together, the gates of hell cannot overcome it. I need you to know that. This is the reason why the church is so important. It's not that Peter was so important, so therefore gates of hell couldn't come against Peter. It was the gates of hell could not come against the church that God was about to build. You need to understand some things about binding and loosing. And I actually have, I think, a change in my thought process in this. But here's the key to this. He says the gates of hell will not overcome it. And it's very important you understand that when he's talking about binding, he's talking about issues of the gates of hell. And when he's talking about loosing, he's talking about issues of the gates of hell. Hell wants to come against you if you don't know that. So what is the difference between binding and loosing? Okay, binding is when you tie something up. It's when you take a rope and you put around it and you say, you will not get loose. I am tying you up. You have no authority whatsoever. So someone says, well, what's loosing? Okay, loosing is... all of us probably have areas of our life where we need freedom. I would call it bondage. It's still coming against the gates of hell, but the difference is, in one scenario, Satan wants to come in, but it hasn't yet. You can bind him and stop him. On the other scenario, you already have a bondage in your life that you need to be set free from. So let me give you two things about that. Okay, number one, binding the power of the enemy. How do we do it? What does it look like? Look with me, again, talking about binding. This statement that Jesus says about binding and loosing occurs twice. It happens in Matthew 16, but it also happens again in Matthew 18. You've got to pick up on this. I want you to turn to Matthew 18. Look at this. When we gather at the church, the Lord gathers right in the middle of everything that we're doing. So therefore, in the church, we have the power to bind and to loose together. Let me give you the second thing. Not only binding the power of the enemy, how about loosing the power of the cross? Again, and loosing is an issue of forgiveness. And aren't you glad that Jesus paid the price for you by shedding his blood for you to set you free? And he whom the Son has set free is free indeed. He has loosed you from the chains of unforgiveness and has forgiven you. So who has the power? And I'll close with this. The church has been given the power. The church, not you individually, not one, not even two of us. Well, listen, if you're disconnected from the church, you don't get the power. When you're when you take your family and you disconnect your family from the church, listen to me, you lose the power. So the church has been given the power. The word church there is the word ecclesia. The word ecclesia is the word for an assembly. It's the word for a religious congregation. But if I were to break that down a little bit, ek in Greek is the word for with, and the word klesia is the word invited guest. You know what the church is? It's when we're with the invited guest. Listen to me, you've all been invited to be a part. Every one of you. But the power comes when we're with the invited guest. That's where the power is at. We will not fall away. We will make the choice. The church is God's bride, and it is God's instrument to share the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world, and it is God's instrument to bind up the enemy from homes, families, marriages, and it is God's instrument to loose people and to set them free. This is what God's called the church to. Listen, I love the church. Listen, let me say this very clearly to you. The church is not for sale. The church is not for sale. We have a job to do. Let's get busy and do that job. So I have 3 things about that. Number 1, don't run away when you have a problem. I can't tell you how many people that I know, they come into a problem, they come into a situation, they come into a marriage issue, they come in something with their kids, and the first thing they do is run away when we ought to be running too. Number 2, don't hide when the enemy's at the door. Hey, you can be bold in the face of the enemy, especially, listen to me, we can be bold when we're with the invited guest. And here's the 3rd thing, don't substitute the false for the real. Don't substitute the false for the real. We're living in a day and time today where people are constantly substituting the false for the real. Let me give you one of those ways that we do the false for the real. We have more opportunities to have activities to separate us from the church than ever before. Listen to me, and I know some of you are going to be like, Pastor, are you against sports? No, I love sports. But listen to me, many people have substituted the false for the real. You know what parents will say about their kids? Oh, I've got them in sports on Sunday because I'm trying to give them every advantage. Hey, go ahead, give them every advantage. Don't give them the disadvantage of not being in church. I'm trying to get you to wake up and go, it's time that the church no longer is for sale in my life.